Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the world's most exciting classroom. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. It is August 1st. It is our 48th World's Most Exciting Classroom event. Almost a year ago, the Oosterschelde left Plymouth and started its epic 2-year journey following Charles Darwin's voyage of the Beagle around the world. Since then, we have met all kinds of incredible speakers. We have connected from some incredible places around the world, like the Galapagos, the South Pacific, Falklands, Tenerife, all over the place. It's been pretty wild. We have 1 month to go of our shorter sessions. So most classrooms in North America and Europe are out for the summer. So we are doing 30-minute sessions until September, when we'll get back to our regular 1-hour world's most exciting classroom events. So let's catch up with the ship. Let's find out where they are right now. I'm going to share my screen really quickly, pick the right Chrome tab here, and we should see the map come up now. There we go. Let's go a little more full screen. So you can see they've been making a nice little circuit around Tahiti. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. There we go. They've been to Bora Bora. They're at Moorea right now. Let me zoom in here. We've got a couple little videos. Good morning to Bora Bora. Looks beautiful. And then looks like one more image here that we can share. There we go. There's the Oosterschelde with a beautiful green island, some blue ocean there. Very cool. All right. If you were paying attention last week, you know that we have 2 new researchers on board from the Explorers Club. We've got Tim, we've got Chris on board, and they have been using drones to photograph the coral, to map the coral and get really exciting images. So when we left them last week, they were just getting ready to get out and launch the drones for the first time. So let's bring Tim and Chris, as well as Josh, in here live with us right now. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, Joe. We're doing great.
Yeah. Good to see you. The problem is you're in the way of the scenery. Get out of here. We don't need you guys here anymore. We just want to see the background. No, I'm just kidding. It's great to have you guys here. That is absolutely incredible. You look relaxed. You look tanned. You look like you've been having a good time sailing the South Pacific.
It's been a blast.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah, I can imagine. Josh, did you get in the water? Have you been in the water? Any diving, any snorkeling?
Yeah, I managed to get 2 dives in Bora Bora, and they were amazing. The first dive was over a nice flat coral reef with the most variety of fish I've ever seen at a dive site before. Really, really nice fish. And then the second dive, we went to an area that was mostly a sandy bottom, but we were looking specifically for spotted eagle rays. And yeah, I thought we were going to see maybe 10 or 15, but we saw about 100 spotted eagle rays that with us for 20 minutes. And we just sat on the bottom as they swam in circles around us. And we actually had to leave them behind because we were running out of time. So that was a heartbreaking thing to do, to have to say goodbye to all of those eagle rays.
I thought I was pretty lucky to be with 1 in the Galapagos. And now you tell me that you were just with 100. That's pretty odd. I hope you have some video. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I unfortunately, all of our underwater camera gear is away on another project with Tom and Maria. But luckily, one of the guys that we were with had a GoPro. So we've got some GoPro stuff from it, which is a memory at least.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. Tim and Chris, you have been flying drones. How's that going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been going really well. We were able to map 2 different reefs in Bora Bora and 1 here in Moorea. So we've got some slides where we can take some people through what we've done. And yeah, mostly focused on our Bora Bora work.
All right, perfect. Give me a moment here. Let me queue up these slides. Make sure I pick the right window, and then we will get them up nice and full screen. And then, yeah, when you want the next slide, just give me a little next slide action, and we'll be good to go.
Cool, yeah. So, I mean, this is our title slide. Just a few logos there from some of the institutions that have supported us. Picture of us, picture of the ship. But, yeah, you can you can head to the next slide. And that's a picture of Bora Bora in the background.
Well, we can't forget following you guys at Oxford Fly Guys. Can't leave
True.
that out.
We need more followers, so please.
All right, very cool. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, okay. So just to set us up, the primary objective of our project was to take images of coral reefs with the drones to facilitate efforts to monitor reef health and coral cover over time. The sites that we imaged are sites that the researchers at CREOB, which is the lab here on Moria, want to go back to study the basically trajectory of the response of corals to climatic and human-caused stress over time. So some of these corals are ones that have bleached in the past and are in a state of recovery, and they want to understand sort of how long that takes in the presence of snorkelers as well. They are curious to see if ecotourism affects the rate of healing, as well as just understanding the sort of general rate of healing. So we took images at sites which are popular for snorkeling, and at sites which are kind of relatively unvisited by humans.
Yeah.
And yeah, can you hit the next slide? Yeah. So this was the methodology for our project. The first step was identify the target sites. We identified a load of target sites, as we mentioned last time, because the ship's itinerary was weather dependent. So we managed to hit a few of them actually on the trip, and with good weather, which was amazing. We were super lucky with that. After that, obviously you go and acquire the images, and then you process them and map them. And so we'll go through those steps in a bit more detail now. Yeah, next slide.
Yeah, so we had two different drones that we used, and we have to give an absolutely huge shout out to Josh here, who basically allowed us to double, if not more than double, the amount of data that we were able to collect. We used his DJI Mavic 3 Pro. We also had our DJI Mavic Pro that we used. So in total, we got over 8,000 photos of the three different reefs. And then now we're just in the early stages of processing all of that. We use the software Drone Deploy, which I want to talk a little bit more about at the end, speaking specifically to students who are maybe interested in going into the field of conservation. But we use Drone Deploy to plan our flights, and then we're using Agisoft Metashape to create these 3D maps that we'll show you one example of. Next slide. Yeah, and so like Chris was saying, we didn't know exactly where the ship was going to go. We had heard rumors we were going to head back to the Tuamotus. We could head to Bora Bora, and so we got to Tahiti about 10 days before we departed, and we used that time to meet with our collaborators at the CREOB lab here on Moria, and they gave us a whole bunch of different sites and talked us through different things that they were interested in looking at. In fact, we have a message from one of the lead researchers at CREOB, and so it would be great if you could play that now.
I'm Gilles from CREOB, and I'm happy to be working with Tim and Chris from the DARWIN200, and they help us map some coral reef in Bora Bora, and I'm here working around the French Polynesia and the islands around to survey the reef. And we do many other things in CREOB, so come and see us. For instance, we have deep corals, and we also do a lot of photogrammetry. We do experiments on corals, so come and see us.
Yeah, Gilles is amazing. He was super helpful, and everyone at CREOB. So definitely check out the CREOB lab online. They're doing amazing work, and they are actively looking for young researchers to come in and help with their projects. So if you're interested in that, shoot them an email. They'll probably have something interesting to work on. So anyway, so these were two of the sites that we're going to focus on, the Southern Barrier Reef of Bora Bora and one of the ecotourism sites. So next slide. Yeah, here's just a picture of the area that we mapped from the sky. So this reef is the one that it's fairly far out. So this is not a snorkeling area for people. Yeah. Next slide. Go ahead.
yeah, just some more photos of the area. And then on the right, there's a photo of us from where we were standing, which is just sort of on the bottom right part of that point you can see in the left picture, standing and mapping with our drone. Next slide, please. Cool. Yeah. So the image acquisition process basically starts with drone deploy. We go ahead and we put in a little grid, a little map. You can see the little sort of green, almost trapezoid kind of shape with the lines in there. We put that in drone deploy, and that determines exactly where our drone is going to fly. And then we input some parameters as well, such as the height of the drone and the image overlap that you want. It's really quite simple to use. It's really user friendly. So you put that in and you connect it to the drone when you get out to the mapping site, and you hit go, and the drone just takes off and it goes and it maps the site. And so the part on the right is just showing how the drone will it'll kind of go over this area in the grid, and it'll take some overlapping photos. You can see in those 3 photos there, which are some of the photos we took, that the images have quite a bit of overlap in them. And that basically allows the post-processing software to reconstruct a map of the area. Next slide, please. And yeah, so we use Metashape to process the images. It basically, starts from what's called we won't get into it too much now, but it starts from what's called a dense point cloud. From the images, it goes ahead and creates a wireframe, and then it shades that in. So the wireframe is there on top. It's sort of a grid of edges and points. And then it goes ahead and fills that in with shading and lighting, which is what you can see on the bottom there. And this helps us get to our 3D model, which is on the next slide, if you can take us to that. So this is the exciting part. There should be a video here that you can play. Yeah, cool. It's showing up now. So if you can hit go on that video, please, Joe. This basically this is a video of our maps pasted into Google Earth. So you'll see we'll sort of zoom in. You can see this is the island of Bora Bora, and we'll sort of take you on a little flight over to where our maps are, and you can see how the resolution from the drones is higher than the surrounding resolution, significantly so.
Yeah, and just a reminder from our first time that we appeared here that the researchers are mostly relying, especially for Bora Bora, just on satellite imagery to try and do the various different projects that you're doing. And so you can see in this video the difference in resolution from the areas that we've mapped with the satellite imagery right next to it, and you can think about how much easier it would be to do a whole bunch of different research projects on that area that's been mapped better.
Yeah, sorry guys. The video won't play on this end. It's asking me for Google permission, so I don't think we'll be able to play it.
Okay. Oh well.
Sad.
Well, if you send it to me, I can add it into this part, and it'll look seamless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
Sounds good. So next slide. Yeah, and here's just some photos of the coral. So Joe, just go ahead and click through it at your own pace here. But we've got some. We just have some. Wanted to show the people, what does the data look like? And it's probably the most fun data I've ever gathered. Just some amazing photos of coral. So,
yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, the lighting conditions and weather conditions we got really lucky because we were only on Bora Bora for a couple of days, only on Moria for a couple of days, and the stars all have to align, so to speak. Really, the sun and the wind have to align for you to get images such that you can see the coral at such a fine resolution. I mean, you can see on the images there, like we're getting some structures down, well beneath the sort of 50 centimeter resolution level, and so that's really fantastic.
Yeah. We had on our second night in Bora Bora, we went to the southern tip. We got all our stuff set up. We were about to take off, and then it just starts pouring rain. And so we're both, like, oh my goodness, we need to get more data. We go and hide under this little roof for like an hour, and then it clears up, and we went and we got some of our best images right after that. So it was incredibly great to have the weather clear.
Yeah, and in these images right here, so when we were going through them just before the post-processing, we realized you could see a few fun animals there. So these images are sort of a little spot the wildlife game if you care to play. We won't give away the answer now, but I can see a little sharky running around in that photo there, for example.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, all in all, it was really great. We're really happy with the data we got. The labs that we're working with are really happy with it. So we feel like this our part in the science of this voyage was a huge success.
All right, let me get my camera back on. That's so good, guys. I'm so glad the weather cooperated. Those pictures look amazing. But I think the real question is 8,000 plus images. What happens next? How much time is it going to take to process all of that?
Oh, yeah. So we've left or we've sent a lot of the data we've sent all the data, sorry, to the researchers at CREOB, and I think they've got several projects going on, and I think we heard that we'd hear back from them in a couple of weeks with the fully processed digital elevation maps, 3D models of the corals, and maybe also some 2D orthomosaics. Yeah, it can take hours for some of these maps to process, as well as we did get great images and a lot of them. But if a big wave did come in during an image, it can mess up the sort of standard post-processing process, if that makes sense. And it'll just say, error, images failed to align. And then you have to go in and find okay, oh, look, it looks like a wave came in at this image, and you have to adjust your parameters or just remove that one particular one or something like that. And then go on from there. So there's a little bit of two steps forward, one step back sometimes with that process. So it can take a little bit of time, but yeah, not too long in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. And then the idea is that in the future, someone will come out, maybe even you guys again, and look at those same reefs, take those same images, and you have the comparison. You've got the baseline. You can see how things have changed in the future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you've got all these different science projects and research projects that are looking at details of the images. But perhaps the most powerful part of this whole process is, in 3-5 years, someone will come back and, realistically, coral will have died. And being able to overlay those images and show policymakers and people who are making decisions, wow, look at the change of this healthy reef with this now dead reef in just a few years. We need to increase our coral conservation efforts, and that's really what the grand scheme of everything that we're trying to do.
Yeah. And so what's going on now? Are you off duty? Any more flying? You're just going to enjoy yourself for the next few days? What's going on?
I mean, yeah, I think we finished with the data gathering we wanted to do, and started to take advantage of our time here on Moria. I think we can
show you what we hiked
from where we are now. We hiked up this yesterday.
Nice.
It's called Mont Rotui here in Moria. So we've been taking advantage of having some time off here. That's a really excellent hike. I mean, it's quite treacherous up there. Some of those ridges are really thin. Yeah, not recommended for the faint of heart, but a
awesome.
Really cool experience.
Very cool. Josh, what's next for you? Out on a Darwin Leader project in a few days, I imagine?
No, I'm actually, I've got a free week next week, which isn't a free week. I'll spend a lot of time editing and stuff. We've only got one Darwin Leader project on in Tahiti, and we're flying out a friend of the project, a guy called JP, who's a French-speaking. Well, no, he is French, and that's going to really help with the communication, because I think the experts that they're working with don't speak a great deal of English, so they're bringing out specifically someone who speaks French to work with the Darwin Leader, and I'll be getting on top of my mountain of editing that I have to do.
All right. Well, there's worse places to have to edit. Hopefully you take lots of breaks.
I'll be getting some dives in as well while I'm there.
Perfect. And Tim and Chris, how many days do you have? Are you going back to CREOB? What are you guys up to?
Yeah, so we went back to CREOB yesterday and sort of had our kind of final time with them. So I think we're just probably going to hang out for a few more days and then head back and maybe do a little work with the Darwin leaders. We'll see what's needed. But yeah, we sort of feel like we've reached our conclusion point for this project. And I just wanted to throw out one thing for undergrads who are watching this, or people in high school. It is truly amazing how many different branches of the natural sciences and any really field of science that requires going into the field to get data, how many of them are looking for drone-based research projects. And so if you're interested in getting involved in conservation, I would really encourage you to, figure out at your university, or high school, where's the drone, learn how to use drone deploy. It's a very user-friendly software, and let's get more young conservationists out here in the field.
All right, perfect. Great advice. Tim and Chris, if you remember, ask the captain for the Explorers Club flag and get a picture with that beautiful background. We like to follow the flag as it makes its way around the world. And also send me that video when you have a moment, and I'll edit it into the recording.
Will do.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Well, thanks, guys. It's been great to follow your progress over the last week. It looks like mission accomplished. Congrats, guys. Very cool.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Josh, thanks for the drone assist. We'll talk to you guys later.
Cool. Thanks,
Bye.
Joe. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right. Very cool. Looks absolutely amazing. Absolutely jealous. Wish I was there doing some diving, flying some drones. Great to have Tim and Chris. And as always, to catch up with Josh somewhere else in the world. Hopefully he has a good week. Get some dives in while he does some of his mountain of editing. So as we've been doing the last few weeks, we have another Darwin leader joining us. So let's see if we can get her in here with us. I'm going to bring her into the call. There she is. Hey, Naia, how are you?
Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I believe you're in Ecuador.
Yes, I'm in Ecuador, in Quito, the capital. And here it's summer, so it's very windy. I'm in my university campus right now.
All right, perfect. Well, it's great to have you with us. You were in Peru with Inca Terra, so it looks like you had a pretty interesting project. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, it was unexpected because I thought the DARWIN200 projects were only on the shores, but I was lucky to go to the Amazon, and actually I worked for a few years in the Amazon here in Ecuador, so it was very beautiful to get to know another part of the Amazon in Peru. And my project was about the vanilla orchid, which a lot of people don't know about vanilla itself, and a lot of people don't even know that it's an orchid. So it was very beautiful to do a project about that flower.
All right, perfect. Well, we are going to get to know that flower a little bit better. I say, let's play your video, and then we'll have some questions about it afterwards. So I'm going to get it loaded up here on my end. It should come up right about now.
There is an essence that almost anyone can recognize. It adds a unique flavor to our daily lives.
Among these large trees, an overwhelming green, in the top of palms or around their tall trunks, grows an orchid, the vanilla flower.
Nos tardamos como 2 horas en encontrar el aroma, como buscando el aroma más fuerte y llegando al punto. De la hoja. Y la flor es igual en realidad. También es súper bonita, ¿no? Y fue el momento, como quien dice, marcado, ¿no? Que encontramos el fruto con la planta y ya, pues entonces tuvimos este gran momento para continuar estudiándolo, ¿no?
My name is Naia Andrade. I am from Ecuador and I worked in the Amazon rainforest during my biology career. Now, with DARWIN200, we travel to the Peruvian Amazon to get to know the vanilla and its potential for conservation. We are in the Inca Terra fuel station And our guide Dax will show us his great passion about vanilla and why he considers it the green gold.
Muy popularmente conocimos como vainilla, la esencia de vainilla, ¿no? Bueno, en realidad es una orquídea que ha sido muy popular muchos años atrás en la parte norte o de Centroamérica, en la parte norte de Sudamérica. Los totonacas pues lo consumían o lo empezaban a utilizar dentro de sus ceremonias, ¿no? Ellos hacían un ritual para sus dioses y entonces mezclaban vainilla con cacao para sacar esta bebida de los dioses.
Vanilla, once used to honor the gods, was taken by French conquerors to Europe and Africa. Nowadays is cultivated in several countries, including Peru, with a price of around $100 per kilo.
Haber probado la vainilla natural, muchos de nosotros tal vez no, pero en algunos sitios sí se comercializan las vainas de la vainilla planifolia. Hasta acá en Perú lo consumimos porque llegan a restaurantes gourmet, pero los que no tienen la oportunidad de entrar a un restaurante gourmet, pues tenemos la esencia que es muy barata, ¿no?
Here in the region Madre de Dios, we find native species with similar economic potential. But there is a rampant threat that is destroying vanilla's natural habitat: gold mining. Until 2013, only 23% of the wetlands in which vanilla grows remained intact. The rest had some level of impact because of gold mining. Now, more than 10 years later, the impacts remain unknown and have potentially increased.
All right. Naia, that's a great video. What a beautiful spot you were able to spend your time. My first question for you is being out there in the rainforest. What was the most challenging thing about filming and being out in the field?
Well, there in that forest, there's a lot of bugs, a lot. So we got it's a little bit of uncomfortable and it's very hot, so you sweat a lot too. And I think the most challenging was getting into the natural habitat of the vanilla, which is these places called aguajales that are flooded, and we had to get until like our knees wet. It was more fun than difficult, but it was very nice.
All right. So you mentioned one of the biggest impacts is gold mining, and I was there as well, close to the same time that you were there on the Madre de Dios, and I saw some of that gold mining taking place. Is there anything that can be done to slow it down? Is it just the land's just not protected? What's happening that's letting this gold mining occur in this area?
Well, it's very interesting because it's an area where I think around 60% of the population work in gold mining. So it's a lot of people depend on that activity, but at the same time, it's not legal. Those activities are done illegally, and the gold is exported, and everything is done illegally. But it's a part of people's life, of a lot of the people that live there. So it's very hard to, I don't know, try to imagine a way of stopping mining for good. But I do think the next videos that I have talk about how vanilla is a very profitable activity that could potentially be an alternative for gold mining. It's way healthier because gold mining it uses a lot of elements to separate gold from other elements, and it uses mercury, and those waters are not treated, and they go into the rivers and they go into people's water. So vanilla is an activity that is way more viable in that sense. And yeah, I don't think there's a perfect solution and a way of just eliminating gold mining, but there are alternatives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when you strip the land like that, I guess you get the profit once. But if you're doing something like farming the vanilla year over year over year, it's a sustainable industry, and the income is going to be much better. And like you mentioned, wouldn't be exposed to the chemicals, so a much safer potential career. Not to mention the area is so beautiful. The ecotourism, being on the river, being in the rainforest. There's so much potential.
Yes, I agree completely. And people in Peru, so the most famous species of vanilla is distributed in the whole world and is cultivated mainly in Madagascar and other places. But in the Amazon, we have a lot of native species that are not used a lot. And in Peru, a lot of people climb those palms that you saw in the video to get the fruit of the aguaje palm, but they don't have any idea that the vanilla exists in the same palm, and they don't take advantage of it.
Yeah. And so the time I spent in the rainforest, it's just beautiful there in Peru. I saw my first wild harpy eagle and jaguar. What kind of wildlife did you encounter?
Well, we didn't see big mammals, but we did see a snake that is called Lachesis muta, which kills you in 40 minutes if it bites you. And the closest town where you can get the antidote is 40 minutes. So if it gets you, yeah, you're you're dead.
Yeah. All right. Well, your third video is kind of looking to the future in the area. And so I'm wondering, after having spent time there, met some of the conservationists, how do you feel about the future of the vanilla in that area?
Well, I think it's very interesting that the people in Incaterra are doing a lot of research on the biology and taxonomy of the vanilla, but there's also a lot of potential in the touristic sense, because Incaterra is one of the most beautiful places to go there in Madre de Dios. It's a lot of people from around the world go to Peru to go to that exact place, and no one's taking advantage of the touristic potential of vanilla. You could use vanilla to sell in those restaurants, to sell gourmet plates, to sell in the airport, to do so many things, and that's one of the ideas that we share in the video 3. And also a lot of people that are in those hotels, we interview them, and a lot of people don't know what the vanilla is. I didn't even know it before, and a lot of people don't know that vanilla occurs right there. So I also see potential in doing touristic activities that allow you to get to know the natural habitat of the vanilla, that are those beautiful places. You can go on boat, see the palms, see otters. And yeah, I think the whole vanilla ecosystem, it has a lot of potential.
All right. Sounds like there's lots of education work to be done as well. All right. Last question for you, Naia. What's next for you? You've had this experience with the Darwin 200. What's next for you? What are you hoping to do in the next few months? Are you in school? Are you getting out in the field? What's coming up?
So I graduated a few months ago, so now I'm working, and well, in Darwin 200, I was able to practice my skills in video and communication, because that's the thing that I love the most. I studied biology, but I really like to communicate the environmental problems, and I use photography and video for that. And so now I'm working in in a documentary about glacier retreating here in Ecuador and what it all means in the climate change context. So I'm really happy about that, and I've been going to the mountains a lot.
All right, sounds good. Congrats on graduating. That's pretty cool. And good luck with the project. It sounds like an interesting one. Hopefully you'll share some images and video with us so we can catch up. We still have a year of sailing to do, so it'll be great to connect with you further down the line.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's great to see you guys. Great to see the people that are in the boats working and seeing amazing stuff. And yeah, a big hug for everyone.
All right. Thanks so much for being with us. Have a great rest of the day and a great weekend. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Naia.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, to wrap up for today, we are going to take a look at our new curiosity. So last week's curiosity was from the plant world. I've got a little video that I'm going to share while I talk about this week's curiosity. So it was, let's make sure I picked the right video. There we go. There we go. So it was a bulrush. Last week's curiosity was a bulrush. They are very common here in Canada and the United States, growing along the sides of rivers and creeks. You can see when you split them open, the black or the brown part is full of seeds. So these seeds are very light. There's a ton of seeds in each one of these bulrushes, and then they're able to catch the wind and be carried for kilometers, if not further. So here's a nice close-up of those seeds. This time of the year, spring, early summer, they're just forming, they're just developing. But by the time the fall hits, they are ready to go. They are almost like little ticking time bombs. If they're bumped into by something or the wind crashes them together, they explode into a puffy white shower of seeds, and they drift all over the place. So that was our curiosity from last week. It was a bulrush. It was a plant species, aquatic. You find them all along lakes, rivers, streams, in ditches where the water pools. So a bulrush, and come fall, they will be spreading their seeds all over the landscape. We have a new curiosity for this week. I have it here with me in my office. It shouldn't be too difficult of one. I think we've all maybe seen this crystal before, this mineral. So here we go. We'll get a little bit closer. You can see it's got kind of a nice multi-purple hue. There's a little bit of white in it as well. So produced by our incredible planet. Our curiosity this week is here for you. If you think you know what our curiosity is, you need to head over to your email and send us a message to classroom@darwin200.com. Classroom@darwin200.com. You have 1 week to put in your answers, your best guesses for our curiosity of the week. Produced by our planet, a little geology action for you. This crystal, this mineral, what do you think it is? Classroom@darwin200.com. 1 week to get your answer in. Well, here we go. Another session wrapping up. Next week, we will connect. We will be in Tahiti and Papeete in port. The Darwin leader will be on board, so hopefully we'll be able to grab him or her and learn about the project that they are working on. So we'll have another connection from paradise in the South Pacific. The last thing we need to do today is a shout out to our sponsors, to our partners, without whom we wouldn't be sailing around the world. We wouldn't be in Tahiti right now. Well, not me, but Josh and Tim and Chris. We wouldn't be doing the research. We wouldn't have young Darwin leaders joining the ship, and we wouldn't be able to do the world's most exciting classroom, which up to this stage, I believe we've had about 250,000 students join us live, and we still have a lot more action to go. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week, and we're going to finish off with a shout out to our sponsors.